It is not hidden from anybody that the conditions of the Bundeswehr is utterly bad. There is a shortfall of ammunition, a shortfall of weaponry, and shortfall of soldiers too. Despite this awful situation, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has declared that he will provide Ukraine with military assistance alongside his ambition to rebuild the nation's military and undo decades of neglect by former administrations. Olaf's plans, however, have gone horribly wrong. The plans to modernize the military have stalled, and the already dwindling weaponry is extremely depleted. And now the situation is getting more alarming. German soldiers are refusing to engage in combat, and it appears like a total mutiny is on the horizon for Deutschland. Hello and welcome to TFIGlobal, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I'm your host, Piyush. Let's begin. If one remembers correctly, more than 1,000 foreign fighters from Germany traveled to Ukraine to join the International Legion to fight against Russia in March 2022. Most likely, most of these fighters were German troops who had sneakily entered the battlefield of Ukraine at the behest of Berlin. However, in just 8 months, the mood has changed. German troops are eyeing to escape the military service as the situation in Ukraine is seeing no cool down. According to a media report by Euractiv, more German soldiers are turning back on the military since the Ukraine war. This means German soldiers increasingly want to be discharged from the military service since Russia started its war in Ukraine. A report made available by the German Defense Ministry has revealed. Reportedly, the number of soldiers wanting to be discharged from service has surged from 209 in 2021 to 810 in the first 8 months of 2022. The numbers are significantly high among reservists and those who have trained to become reservists, increasing from 10 to 190. Though this is low in numbers compared to the size of the military, this sudden upsurge represents a grave sign for Berlin. The Defense Ministry has declined to provide an explanation for the increase in refusals. Sevim Dagdalin, the deputy leader of the Left Party, has asserted that the data reflects concerns about the consequences of federal government's military escalation in Ukraine. Surprisingly, even in June, it was reported that more and more people are leaving the Bundeswehr, saying they did not expect an armed conflict with Russia. Germany, despite not being a formal party of war in Ukraine, has supplied offensive weapons to Kiev's forces, including artillery, rockets, anti-aircraft missile systems, and vehicle-mounted cannons. As a NATO member, Germany has regularly received warnings from Moscow that such armed transfers will only extend the combat in Ukraine and turn the US-led military alliance into a de facto participant in the war. Yet the warnings have consistently fallen on deaf ears. Now, as more and more military personnel are refusing to fight for Deutschland, Germany's prospects of gaining leverage against their enemy are bleak. Militarily, Germany has been on a constant downfall. For those who don't know, by registering their refusal to fight, German soldiers are eligible to leave military service and can invoke their status as conscientious objectors even if the conscription is reintroduced. The nation abolished conscription back in 2011, and since then, Berlin has failed to beef up the German military after years of cuts. In recent times, to fix the increasing gap, Berlin approved a 100 billion euros military modernization fund in June to acquire the equipment it wants and replenish the number of German troops. But thanks to the unstable dollar and rising inflation, the plans are officially derailed. The number of requests for dismissal has nearly quadrupled this year due to NATO's increased involvement in Eastern Europe and the fear of a direct confrontation with Russia. The German military is legitimately expressing their discontent that they don't want to fight the US-backed EU's nonsensical war with Russia. This is a mutiny that is knocking on the doors of Berlin.